greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. This is episode 215, and I'm your host, Rick Verbanis. I've got a co host, he's the best one out there. His name is Bob Lucius. Oh, Bob, is it true what they say about the way you people are gifted?
I have no idea. I have no idea what you're going on about now.
No?
No, I don't know
Oh,
if it's true or not, but
oh okay.
yeah.
That was Lily von Stupp.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes
What's the
sense now.
movie?
All right, Young Frankenstein.
No, but very
No?
good guess. Good
Yeah?
guess. Another Mel Brooks film.
Oh, what was it? Oh, is it Blazing Saddles?
It was.
All right, yes.
Yeah, a little Blazing Saddles action.
Yeah.
Uh, I, and then she follows it up. Oh, it's true. It's true. But anyway, why am I greeting you with a quote from Blazing Saddles, Bob?
um, was it to mark the passing of Terry Garr?
It kind of was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
shame.
it is.
Yeah, she just passed. When we're recording, she passed, I think, today or yesterday. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she was a great Mel Brooks actress. She was in Young Frankenstein.
Yes,
Yeah.
Frankenstein. Yeah.
But thank you. But this particular reference to Blazing Saddles, um, this movie came out the first week of February in 1974 and became the top grossing film of 1974. And
Hmm.
it just so happens that the movie we're covering today came out the first week of February of 1974. And I thought the quote was apropos because uh, they say you people are gifted, and there are a few gifted people in the
There
comic
are.
coming up.
There are. You know, Rick, I was taking a tour of the Gulf Shore Playhouse, which is a brand new playhouse that is being built here in Naples, Florida. It's a I don't know, 25 million dollar building, beautiful building. And they were talking about as we were touring it that one of the first shows that they plan to put on is Young Frankenstein. And I, of course,
Frankenstein.
I piped up and said, Frankenstein. And nobody had any reaction whatsoever. It
Oh,
was a complete and utter disappointment for me.
it really was.
Yes, you know?
Uh, yeah, that's a shame.
I know. Yeah. What's
Half the
happening
time
in this world?
I just do that for myself, though.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it has to be sort of an intrinsic reward when you do stuff like that, right? You can't
Yeah.
look for validation.
But you know what's happening though, Bob? There are some birthdays, some very special birthdays, and if you are listening to this on the date that it comes out, which is November 20th, um, Mike Perkins' his birthday's today,
Happy birthday, Mike. Mike's such a great guy.
isn't he?
He really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, love Mike. Mike's been on the show a couple of times. You know, he was an artist during the Ed Brubaker era in Volume 5. He did some inking on Steve Epting. He did some penciling on his own, and lovely gentleman that we had on the show twice. If you want to check those episodes out, that was episodes 23 and 130, and
Mm-hmm.
it's time probably to have him back soon.
Absolutely. You know, and he's such a great presence on Facebook too.
Mm.
I know you follow him. I follow him. He
Mhm.
shares great stuff on there, and he's approachable. You know, I'm not a big commission guy, but he's one guy that I don't have a commission from that I think he's definitely on my bucket list one of these days because I just love him. I love his work, and
Yeah, you
I
really
love him as a
should.
person.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got two commissions. One is a really cool Winter Soldier,
I know. I love that one. That one's fabulous.
and then another one is a recreation of Captain America 286, which is the famous Deathlock cover.
Mm-hmm.
And that's special to me because it was the very first Captain America comic book that I paid for with my own money.
Nice.
and so it has a special place in my heart. And he did an excellent
Yeah.
recreation on that, including the logo and everything. So
Never
highly
seen. I've
recommend,
never
Bob.
seen anything he's done that I've been disappointed in. So
It's true. It's
yeah.
true. Also celebrating a birthday this week. This one would be November 22nd, and that is Roy Thomas.
We love Roy. Had him on the show. Some of my favorite Marvel lore sprung from the mind of Roy Thomas. And if he didn't create it himself, he just sort of wove together
Hmm.
old Golden Age material with new stuff and created a whole new world. And you know what pops out, of course, are things like the Invaders and you know some of those the What If series. And he's just his knowledge of really Golden Age, Silver Age, up through Bronze Age, encyclopedic.
Yeah, 100%. And it was great having him on the show. If anybody wants to check that out, it was episode 125, and Roy talked about a whole mess of things that ranged from everything you just mentioned, including writing for Captain America and then editing for Captain America, and then he really told some amazing stories of the bullpen days, and he dropped a lot of names.
Sure did. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I'm not sure, Rick, but I think his most recent work for Marvel, at least in the comics, was the Captain America in the Bahama Triangle, which is
Oh
a
yeah,
fabulous story. You know, I mention that at least once a month.
yeah. I think that's on our bucket list for
2028. Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say seven, but I like yours better.
Yeah, it's for folks who haven't read it yet, pick it up. One shot. Jerry Ordway does the art, and just great stuff. Just great World War II story. Human Torch, Namor, Captain America, Baron Zemo, FDR. What's not to love?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Bob, I'm actually really interested in getting to the story today.
Mm.
We did this is part four of the Secret Empire, and we kicked this off. Part one, I think we did. It was in episode 201. So you want to go back if you haven't listened to parts one, two, and three. Make sure you check them out. That's episodes 201, 205, and 209. That way you'll be up to speed before we jump into part four. But I'm ready to do it. How about you?
Yeah, let's do this thing.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
The number one selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
All right. So this comic had a cover date of May 1974, but a release date of February 5th, 1974. And the creators are the same as the last one, which was writer Steve Englehart. By the way, if you want to check out a really good episode conversation that we had with Steve Englehart, you want to check out episode 52. And great conversation with him. Penciled by Sal Buscema, inked by Vince Coletta, colorist George Rossos, letterer Art Simic, and then editor Roy Thomas. Bob, the cover a lot going on in this cover, and lots of different artists that are attributed to this cover. John Romita, Gil Kane, Frank Giacoya, and then Danny Crespi. A lot of different artists, and I think probably I have some thoughts on who did what, but how about you take us through it?
All right. Well, it's a fantastic cover, Rick, because it's one of those action covers where I can imagine seeing this on the spinner rack and thinking to myself, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on here? Because I want part of this, right? So we've got what looks to be, some rubble, right? There's some broken down walls, and we see Cap smack dab in the middle of this cover, and he's barreling toward us. And he's got his shield up, and he's pumping the air with his right arm, because he's running fast. And then we got behind him, we got Scott Summers, Cyclops, and Jean Grey as Marvel Girl. And then up over his left shoulder, we've got Falcon in the air, all heading toward us. But right in front of us, between us and these heroes, we've got Nick Fury. And it looks like he's not alone. He's got a bunch of guys, and they're shooting guns at these approaching heroes. And Fury's clenched down on a cigar, and he's giving orders. And one of the great things about this scene is Cyclops is melting the end off one of the weapons. So it's very, very dynamic. And of course, it's Captain America and the Falcon. But right under Falcon, it says X-Men with an exclamation point. And we've got some other, word balloons here. We've got one that says in deadly combat with Nick Fury and his hell-raising agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we've got Make Way for the Marvel Age of Comics, Phase 2.
Nicely done. Yes. And 20 cents gets you this comic back in the day. I love the logo. It's that Captain America red, white, and blue logo. It's kind of slightly curved. And then it says, of course, and the Falcon. Now, it's funny. The cover that I have, this is my copy right here, is different than the cover that I am seeing with, like if you go on Marvel Fandom, they leave out the words and then the.
Yeah.
So, and the Falcon, they just leave that out.
You're right.
And it says side by side with the X-Men.
Yeah.
It leaves out, it just says X-Men. It doesn't say this side by side. So,
right.
Pretty interesting that they decided not to. I don't know what version of the cover this is, but I got the original right here.
Yeah.
And then maybe at the end of this after the end of the story, we can kind of talk a little bit about what's going on with Cyclops' blast, right? Like his ray, because it's a little different from what my understanding of what his ray is.
Okay.
All right, so we open it up to a giant splash page, and where we left off in the last issue was Cap and Falcon had just been transported by Marvel Girl through the air to land in front of Professor X, Marvel Girl, and Cyclops. And Professor X explains what's going on to Cap and why he needs his help, and also why it may be beneficial to Cap as well. And the title to this story is
The Sins of the Secret Empire.
Cap has just met the enigmatic X-Men, who say they may be able to help destroy the trumped-up murder charge hanging over him. But before he can recover from that shock... Raise him, Cap! This is your finish! No, it can't be. And we see this, yelling from off panel, and everybody's standing there stunned. Who could it be? We turn the page, and it's Nick Fury with a whole mess of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, including Dum Dum Dugan. And it looks like a whole bunch of police cars, and they're behind, I wouldn't say a barricade, but they're behind some waist level rocks.
Yeah.
They're big. They're big.
Yeah, those are big rocks.
Yeah.
He's got some big rocks.
He sure does. Yeah, big man. It's your old pal Nick Fury, along with the pride of S.H.I.E.L.D. and maybe half of the Tennessee State Police. Now, there's a little asterisk next to the word shield, Bob. What's it stand for?
It stands for Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Espionage Law Enforcement Division, Rick.
Now, Bob,
Yeah.
close your eyes.
Okay.
What does shield stand for?
Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division.
That was good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Now, do that tomorrow.
All right. Yeah.
So when I went to Baltimore Comic-Con,
Yeah.
I was meeting these other comic art collectors at the Hard Rock Cafe, and I got there first, and I was waiting at the bar, and
I love Hard Rocks.
they were doing trivia.
Yeah.
It was trivia night. And so on the trivia, they were like, okay, this trivia is going to be about comic books. And, bring up your teams and everything. So I was like, well, I'm waiting for people. All right, I'm going to sign up a team. And then another fellow showed up, and we just hung out, had a drink while waiting for the larger crowd. There was like another 20 guys coming. And one of the questions was, what is the acronym SHIELD? And buddy, I couldn't get,
because there isn't just one.
Yeah, you're right. There's a more
right?
recent one.
Yeah, there's three of them.
But they did ask for like the original 60s version.
All right, fair
which
enough.
I'm pretty sure this is.
Yeah, this is the original from what I think it was August 65, right? That's like Strange Tales 135 or something.
But yeah, I couldn't get it.
Yeah. Huh.
So Nick Fury, who's holding some sort of megaphone, some sort of sci-fi version of a megaphone. We didn't come here for you, Cap. But once we saw you flying through the sky, there ain't no way we're leaving without you. It's all over, Fancy Pants. Now that's not nice.
It really isn't. And he's used this before. Didn't he call him that back in Sergeant Fury 13? He called him Fancy Pants then, too. He's been calling him Fancy Pants a very long time.
Yeah. We didn't come here for you. Then why? Could S.H.I.E.L.D. have some totally unrelated operation in these Nashville hills? Could it be that Cap's flight from New York, on the slimmest of hopes that he could find something here to prove Moonstone a fraud, has inadvertently brought about his own capture? Is he never going to get a break? Your last warning, Cap. Stumbling on you shows luck on our side. Don't make me prove it. And Falcon isn't having it. Listen, partner, you know you're innocent, and I know you're innocent. So I say, let him try to take us. And Cyclops chimes in. The X-Men have reasons of their own for wanting you free, Cap. We stand with you. You'll never know how much this means, either of you. All right then, go. And then that next panel, when he says go, Cap's slinging a shield. Cyclops is letting go with the burst, and then we see the calf of Falcon. So he's on his way. Next page, we see what happens when Cyclops' rays hit and Cap's shield ricochets, and it makes some noises, Bob. Cyclops' searing optic blast rakes the scrambling agents. S.H.I.E.L.D. meets S.H.I.E.L.D., and thus the issue is joined. And then we see Professor X, who's wearing a suit with a tie, sitting in a wheelchair with a some sort of blanket,
a comfy
over
blanket.
his legs.
Yeah, it's chilly out.
Yeah. And then we see Marvel Girl in her yellow and blue outfit, which, by the way, Cyclops is wearing. And she is levitating Falcon. I've mentally made myself invisible to their eyes, Marvel Girl. No one must know of my connection with the X-Men. Understood, Professor. Don't sweat it, Prof. Once Marvel Mama lifts me up with the birds again, well, I can take it from there. You know what they say, what goes up must come down. Heads up, heads up. And sure enough, she levitates him into the air, and then he uses his wings to glide down and knock three shield agents out, and it makes a noise. And then we turn the page, and there's more action going on. Cap punching, Cyclops blasting. Professor, we're pushing them back, but there are so many. I know, G, and I have a plan. And then Professor X uses his telepathy to speak to Scott. Scott, follow my instructions. And then he starts to use his ray to the ground, and Cap notices and thinks to himself, odd. Cyclops seemed to be listening to something for a moment there, just before he began directing his beam at the ground. Get back, Nick. Fire! I ain't lost both my eyes, Duncan. They've cut us off. And sure enough, the blast that Cyclops used on the ground, I guess the kindling there, the brush caught fire. That place should hold them, Professor. It was the only way. They hunt Captain America for what they consider to be valid reasons. We cannot hurt them for that. We can only retreat and regroup this way.
Now, I love this panel, Rick, because they're all fleeing and Cap is pushing Professor X, and you can see the speed, right? Because there's speed lines, and Professor X's tie is flying over his right shoulder. Like, what kind of suspension does that wheelchair have?
I don't know. It's a great panel.
Open ground outside. Bumpy ride.
They're gone. Jeez, I should have my head examined for Ralston Cap with his buddies around. Well, what are you waiting for? Douse that fire. You heard the man. This is a nasty job. I admit I don't like that cornball Avenger, but arresting him is something else. Still, even though I ain't really bought what that Committee to Regain America's Principles has been saying, it is pretty strange that Cap would show up right here, right now. I wonder. And so, although we won't discover the reason for Nick Fury's presence in this area this ish, we can add his name to the growing roster of Americans who distrust Captain America. But the final judgment won't be made until all the evidence is in, and we must now join the search for that evidence. And sure enough, here's Cap continuing to push Professor X on this wheelchair, but that is a really rough terrain.
Yeah, it's hilly and rocky, there's holes in the ground.
In here, Captain. We shan't be found in this deserted mine tunnel. Grimly, the Star-Spangled Avenger follows Professor X's lead. He'll gratefully accept any opportunity to move now. The professor said that people after my scalp are also after mutants, and that he and his two remaining X-Men have been fighting for their lives for months. He's got to know something that he can help. He's got to. We should be safe enough now, Professor. I agree. Then I'll continue from where we were so rudely interrupted. Cap, my X-Men are largely unknown to the public. Mutants are hated, feared, even when they try to defend Homo sapiens from other mutants, others who are genuinely evil. Thus we call humans into our struggles only when forced. One of those times came when our archfoe Magneto plunged us into hypnotic comas. It was the master of magnetism's plan to also kidnap your sister Avenger, the mutant called the Scarlet Witch. So he full-heartedly lured the Avengers to him and proved unequal to the task he had set himself. When did that happen, Bob?
That was in Avengers 110 and 111. Right.
We thought we had won, but then Iron Man presented us with a mystifying puzzle. During our entire period of unconsciousness, my X-Men called the Angel had been missing, and Magneto had not taken him. We tried to find my vanished student, but by making mental contact with his friend, the Beast, I could not locate the Beast. Then Cyclops, Marvel Girl, and the Iceman jetted to the southwest to check on two mutants known as Havoc and Lorna Dane. Lorna had gone to see Havoc months before and had not returned. And when did that happen?
That was in Hulk 150.
Until then, I had sagely assumed that Lorna, in love with the man, had stayed with him instead of following my request to bring him back to us. I had been wrong. The cabin was long deserted. Bob, I want to start using that word and talking about myself. I sagely thought that it was a good idea for us to have this
Yes.
for dinner.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You want to just lay the groundwork for people to admire your thinking.
Yes. After that, I sent my three remaining troops out on separate missions, scouting for traces of other mutants, even our enemies. Cyclops and Marvel Girl reported finding no one. The Iceman never returned. War has been declared on mutants, Captain. A silent, subtle, and sinister war. Desperate for allies, we sought and finally found one possibility, the Banshee. But he was so afraid of being captured, he hot headedly fought you and us. Which brings us up to date. But how are your problems connected with mine? As I said, we don't usually involve ourselves with others. Now, it is a necessity. The few clues we've uncovered in our months of searching prove that our enemy is the Secret Empire.
Oh
Dun, dun, dun.
my.
The Secret Empire is dedicated to domination without the people they dominate being aware of it. Where have I heard that before, Bob?
Interesting theory.
They often use advertising or propaganda produced by their agents on Madison Avenue.
Marketing
One of whom,
people.
I know, scum of the earth. I probably should pause here for that one person who's never listened to any other episode ever, and this is their first one. I'm a marketing guy, so Bob's referring to me. One of whom the underworld grapevine reveals is Quentin Harderman, the man who engineered my frame. Exactly. Professor Xavier, you've got a friend, and he shakes his hand. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
You don't like this?
I don't like this at all. Cap is coming across as very self-centered and selfish.
Yeah.
And he's only going to help the X-Men
It's
because they can
transactional.
help him.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like him, right?
It really doesn't.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Now, granted, he's in a tough pickle right now,
He is,
right? He's
yeah.
framed. He's on the run. He's questioning some authority.
Yeah, Nick Fury just called him fancy pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad day.
Then listen, I have one lead, which we could not follow until now because our enemy knows too much about us. The beast in his alter ego had a girlfriend whose actions aroused my suspicions. Her name is Linda Donaldson. And then we cut to the next page, and we cut to Linda Donaldson, who is leaving, looks like Brand Corporation in Dallas, Texas. Very convenient sign on the side of the building.
Yeah, that helps.
And she's walking to her car, and then she's getting in her car. It's funny, Bob. The other quote I was thinking about from Blazing Saddles, instead of the one I used, because of this scene, was going to be, where are the white women at?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was appropriate.
Probably not. Yeah. Great scene, though.
So Linda's thinking to herself. And by the way, how would you describe Linda, Bob?
Linda is, it's interesting because in this first panel we see her, and although she has been in the comics before, but this is, I think, the first panel that we see her. She's wearing a very 70s vibe. So she's got a green jacket on with a yellow, an orangish dress, but her hair is sort of what's that? It's like a bluish whitish tint to it.
I don't see any blue.
It's like a steel blue, right? I mean, it's not white, it's not
Well,
blonde.
you know what else is not white? Purple, orange. That doesn't make it blue.
Well, it's not purple.
Okay. Well,
It
we're
could
going to
be
start
lavender.
calling it things that it's not. Is that what we're doing here?
Well, it could be, it's like a lavender, but lavender is what, you know, blue and purple and white, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's got a little. At least in my comic. Now you're looking online. Maybe the
Yeah.
coloring is different, but at least in my comic, I would say it's like a grayish brown.
Okay. But I don't think I mean, she's not an older woman, right?
No, she's not. No.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's dyed sort of, a stylish color.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was going with something a little more fun, Rick, than grayish brown.
Blue. She's not Marge Simpson. Bob.
It's like I said a bluish white, a combination someplace in there. I don't know. Somebody get me a color wheel.
So now Steve Englehart decides to kind of fill us in on what's been going on by having a inner monologue. Linda, my love, it's been a fast, furious, and fruitful year for you. First, you join the secret empire and get assigned to string along that bull, Hank McCoy. Who's Hank McCoy?
He's the beast.
Oh. While doing that, the beast appears, and I'm eventually able to deliver him into the Empire's mutant-hungry jaws. McCoy, a jellyfish undoubtedly petrified by all the unexpected danger at the Long Island branch of the Brand Corporation, drops his research and disappears then. So I maneuver a reassignment to the Dallas plant, where I spend my time playing up to each of the 3 top government analysts here. Not bad for a working girl. But enough reminiscing. This road should be sufficiently secluded for my purposes. And then what does she do, Bob?
She pulls something out of her glove box, which is a very large glove box on this car, might I add. But she pulls some sort of, looks like a handheld device with a small, like little screen on it, like a little TV screen.
It's interesting you said glove box. See, to me, I always called it a glove compartment. Glove box sounds a lot more like 50s, 60s lingo, which would be not too off from this 1974 story.
Yeah.
But you call it a glove box.
Yeah. Well, I call it a refrigerator and ice box. So.
No, you don't.
No, but I grew up with that, calling it that at home.
Ice
that's what my parents called it, the ice box. Yeah. Go get me a pop out of the ice box. Yeah.
Glove box. All right. Listeners, we want to hear from you. Is it a glove box or is it a glove compartment?
Yeah.
What do you call
it? Yeah. And
what do you put in it? The only person who cares is me.
Yeah. Well, what do you put in it? Does anyone actually put gloves in it? That's what I want to know.
Well, according to one person, they keep a Glock in there.
That's a Glock box.
Yeah.
Put it in the Glock box.
12:47, precisely time to contact the masters. Ah, my signal is answered. Agent 9 here. I'm still unable to steal Brand's new electron gyro. Security is proving difficult to breach. However, I am told that 2 mutants, the Banshee and Cyclops, were spotted downtown this morning. Did I say that wrong, Bob? You smiled when I said gyro.
Well, I would have gone with, did you say gyro?
I said gyro.
You said gyro. Yeah, I wouldn't have, gyro, whatever works for you. It's
when you get that Mediterranean lunch thing, what do you get, Bob? What do you get?
I don't, because it's meat.
But if you were ordering for a friend, what would it be?
A gyro, of course, Rick.
All right. Well, this one is an electro gyro.
Sounds delicious.
We already have that information, number 9. Do not attempt to divert us from your failure. We need that gyro. Get it out. Why, you pompous. We shouldn't hear anyone say the words Linda Donaldson snaps off now. So let's just move forward to her late afternoon return to her apartment. She's much more calm now. And where's she living, Bob?
She is holed up at the Prairie View Apartments, Rick.
It's
Sounds
days like
lovely, doesn't it?
Prairie View. I don't know. Do you want to watch a prairie?
Yeah, good point.
It's days like this I wish I were back with Hank McCoy. At least he was good for some laughs. Eh? And we see these hands, these yellow gloves that are coming up behind her as she's getting out of the car. And it's Cyclops who grabs her, puts her in kind of like a half Nelson and a hand over her mouth. Don't struggle, Miss Donaldson. The X-Men want to talk with you. You're coming with me. And then behind a brick corner of the apartment complex, there is two gentlemen, and it's Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers in disguise as different kinds of civilians. So it's not, not in the Falcon and Captain America disguise.
Right. Yeah.
Steve, are you sure this is going to work? It should, Sam. I've used disguises often enough to turn us into two pretty convincing bums. We just happen to be two bums with a lot of chivalrous impulses. Let's do our act. Okay, Bob.
Okay.
Does Steve Rogers refer to other people as bums?
No, I have not heard him do that before. They also don't look particularly homeless. They look pretty well cleaned up, and
They do.
Sam's sporting a well-groomed Fu Manchu mustache. So
Now, well, wait a minute now. Wait just a minute. Who said they were homeless? He said bums. You are putting the homeless in there.
well, I just assumed as a bum. I mean, isn't that the period word for homeless? I don't know.
No, homeless is an adjective for a particular type of bum.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because
I
if it
just
was if
thought it was
all
an
bums are
evolution from a
homeless,
hobo.
well, if all bums are homeless, you wouldn't have to call them homeless bums. You just call them bums, and everybody would know,
It would be overkill. Okay, fair enough.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, all right, that's fair enough.
All right. Here, go swim in the wet ocean. No, everybody knows the ocean's wet, right? Like you don't have to say
Yeah.
it,
All
right?
right, fair enough. Yeah, you're right.
So we get a half-page splash here, which I don't really think this particular action going on deserves a half-page splash, but whatever.
Yeah,
I think Sal got a little like,
gotta get this done.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we see Cyclops, holding this lady, and then rushing up are Sam and Steve in their civilian disguises. All right, Muty, get your filthy hands off that girl. We'll show your kind that you can't mess with real people. Right on schedule, gentlemen. The professor's plan is working fine. Say, you and what army creeps? Maybe you'd like a sample of my eye beams. And then he fires away.
Boom.
He missed us, partner, on purpose. Suddenly, in an unplanned addition to the script, Cyclops gets tossed by the lovely lady.
There you
She
go.
flips him. Why don't you lie down and rest, mutant? Hey! Good work, miss. Now it's my turn. Don't want her to hurt, Psych. Have to hold myself in and not forget my super strength. Now, what does he mean by super strength, Bob?
Yeah. Well, he's just got peak human strength, right?
No. This was during the time period I think that
Oh.
Steve Englehart had given him extra strength.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Yeah, good point.
So Cyclops fires from his eyes. 3 against 1. Maybe I won't be able to kidnap you, girl. So I'll blast you instead. And Cap, or Steve, pushes her out of the way. Sykes cutting it close. It seems completely convincing, even to me. I'll save you, miss. That crazy freak's heading for the tall timber, baby. Looks like he knows better than to take on two guys like me and Willie. Sorry about your car. Did he hurt you at all? No, no, he didn't. I can't understand why he picked me to attack, though. Their kind of goes nuts sometimes, I hear. We were going to get a job in Dallas. Even took a room at the Southview Hotel. But if the cruddy X-Men are in town, get it. My name's Willie Samuels, miss. My pal's Roger Stevens. Oh, I see what they did there,
Yeah, clever.
right?
Yeah, they really went all in on
Roger
the disguise.
Stevens is
Yeah.
Steven Rogers,
Wow.
and Sam Wilson is Willie Samuels.
Nicely done.
You know, when I read this,
Yeah.
I actually thought to myself, did they do that in case they slip and Sam says, "Hey, hey, Steve," and they're like, "What? That's not his name." Oh, no, no. He's Roger Stevens. I call him Steve. Did they do that just to, like, in case they slip, or like, what was it? Or are they just being
Yeah.
lazy?
Yeah. It's for the 10-year-olds.
Linda Donaldson's my name, kind sir. I don't know how to thank you. And they both walk away. It was nothing really. Beats pounding the pavement looking for work that ain't looking for you. Take it slow, Mama. You have quite admirable lack of curiosity, my friends. Perhaps I can find a way to thank you after all. And then we cut to dusk, and I guess this is the Southview Hotel. And there's a sign above the door, Bob. In 1974, you could get the room $1 a night.
$1 a night.
That's
Sounds
not
lovely.
real, right? Even back
Yeah.
in 1974, you couldn't get a room for $1.
Oh, I bet you could at some flop houses. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
A night?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's crazy, huh?
So we see Steve in his disguise at the window, and he looks a little upset, right? He has his arm up against the wall and his leaning up against it, his other arm cocked on his hip. Felt bad deceiving that girl like that, Sam. What if the professor is wrong and she's not mixed up in this? For somebody with a guilty conscience, you sure laid it on pretty thick, Steve. I'll save you, miss, as he mocks Steve. Now, before I turn the page here,
Yeah.
there is a Marvel value stamp in this issue. And do you see who it is, Bob?
I don't, Rick. I'm looking at the digital version.
Oh, this is the Red Ghost.
Ooh.
And I think that's interesting because the current Avengers Assemble miniseries, which, remember, we had Steve Orlando on the show to talk about, the Red Ghost makes an appearance.
Synchronicity.
But then, just then, Bob, there's a knock on the door. Quiet. Maybe this is it. Sam Wilson strides to the door, possibilities parading through his brain. He could open it to find merely a harmless maid. He could find the police or S.H.I.E.L.D., or he could find. Good Lord. And what does he see, Bob?
Well, it appears to be a person wearing a suit, but with a hood over his head and wearing gloves. So I guess probably the kind of guy that would use his glove box. But the hood has a number 13 on his forehead.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, Bob. I think he's more of a compartment kind of guy.
Could be.
Greetings. I represent the Secret Empire. I will be brief. I offer you $10,000 cash for a night's work. 5,000 now, 5,000 upon completion. What? What are you talking about? Who are you? Questions are dangerous, Willie Samuels. They invite answers. Ask only if you need money and steady work. Well, yeah. And he's holding a whole wad of cash in his hand. that is wrapped in the middle, uh, and it's just one wad, but it says he said $5,000 now. Is there 50 $100 bills there? Like,
Could be, Rick. I
that's
mean,
too small for that.
he wouldn't lie.
It's true. Then know this: the Brand Corporation has an electric gyro. We wish it stolen, but are unable to do it ourselves since there is a risk of capture and exposure. And under no circumstances must the American people learn of our existence as yet. But if you attempt this for us and succeed, you'll be well rewarded. Here is our plan. Wasting no words, the hooded figure raps out details of the Brand Corporation's setup and security, then whirls and disappears into the dark, leaving two momentarily happy men. They took the bait. Fantastic, Sam. But I trust you saw the gun in his pocket, ready to blast us if we turned down his offer. Make no mistakes. We're just now getting to the tough
But before we do that, let's go get the $2 a night room.
part. Midnight. And Cap and Falcon are up on the roof of the Brand Corporation Dallas, Texas location. Remember that sign we talked about before? Uniforms, Cap. It's got to be, partner. We have to produce the gyro for the secret empire if we want to accept us. And since we're both fugitives, we can't do what we normally do and ask Brand to loan it to us. But not everyone thinks we're murderous vigilantes yet. So if we're caught tonight, well, I can only pray it'll be someone who still believes in Captain America. Need we detail the dark thoughts of our desperate duo at this point? In a determined effort to fight clear of the awful net of lies which envelops them, they are gambling everything on the first illegal act either of them has ever committed. There is no thrill in this now, only the clammy handed, dry throated, deadening tension of thievery. And as they go past, there's two guards there, one reading looks like a girly magazine. Cap whispers to Falcon. And by the way, this is the first illegal act either of them has ever committed in all the pages of Captain America. I'm not saying off panel, I'm saying in the comics. Hasn't Cap or the Falcon done? I mean, heck, in this story alone,
Yes.
Cap did a few things that were been
He
considered
broke out of
illegal.
jail.
Yeah.
That would be a violation of the law.
Yeah. Sam was a betting and a known felon, aiding and abetting. Here we are, Falk. Yeah, I don't think the god sorrows. Cap, this stinks. Don't I know it? Come on. There's our ticket into the secret empire. Let's take it and get out. And what is the electron gyro look like, Bob?
It looks like a gyro, right? It's got a round object in the middle, and then a number of like spherical.
I'm sorry. Tell me again how to pronounce gyro.
Gyro. Yeah, just like that. And then it's got these spiracles, these spherical like halo like bands, at different angles around that sphere, and it's on a pedestal. So
yeah, it's about the size of a head.
Yeah, it's about the size of a head. It Cap's hand, it can grasp it. Actually, like maybe a big softball or something.
Yeah, well, the middle, yeah, but when you add the other components around it, it's about the size of a head, right?
A baby's head, yeah.
Stop where you are. So those ads I read were true. Get your hands up, you crummy crooks. You're going to have a nice long jail term to think about how dumb it is to try to sneak past an electric eye alarm. No way, Jack. We can't stop now. Instant replay time, Falk. It's just like with S.H.I.E.L.D. Hit 'em. Cap puts his shield up, and the two of them run through, knocking the guards down. And before the startled guards can react, run for it, Falk. If we're caught now, it's over forever. Hyperbole much? More guards with Brand's advanced weaponry. And sure enough, now come some laser pistols that look more like they were drawn by Jack Kirby. And they make interesting sounds.
Oh,
But my shield hasn't been beaten yet. And the shield goes into the ceiling and some contraption that's right above. Watch out! The blasted thing sliced the sprinkler. Uh, oh, sorry.
no, you did a fine job.
Uh, I'm sorry, Bob. I took your splooge. Would you like to splooge?
No, your splooge is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've never seen a better one.
I kind of pre-splooged there. I
It's a
shouldn't have gotten another.
There was a
man's
premature
splooge.
splooge. Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
really
sure.
should. Sorry. And then the shield comes back to Cap's hand. I hear more guards coming, Cap. We'll be trapped unless grab my wrist. And then they crash through a window. And there are several stories up. Looks like at least 3 or 4 stories up. Return the page. I never figured when I won my wings it'd be so I could be a jailbird, partner. He's bitter, and I can't blame him. I'm not happy with what happened tonight myself. Look, there they are. Hurry, they're still in pistol range. No, don't shoot. What? Cool it, Chuck. It's Mr. Black, the factory boss. Yes, I am ordering you to let those men go. I found the note in the gyro room. It's from Captain America, saying he needs the gyro desperately and will return it unharmed. I believe him. And he shows the handwritten note. What's it say, Bob?
It says, to the amenities, to the authorities, I am innocent of all charges against me and need the electron gyro to help prove it. Please.
But that could simply be a stall, a blind. I hear he's a killer, so why not a thief? I'll hear no more about this, mister, and neither will the police or the newspapers. In my book, Cap's no criminal, period. That guy's crazy. He won't believe what's right in front of his nose. And then the radio helps remind them. Remember, if you see Captain America or his accomplice, the Falcon, report them immediately. This public reminder paid for by the Committee to Regain America's Principles. Also known as
crap.
Next page, 3 a.m. Wonderful, wonderful. This is indeed the electron gyro. You are very resourceful, men. Roger, Willie, and it's Agent 13. But not our Agent 13, not S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. It's the other Agent 13.
The other one, yeah.
Men like you are precisely what we need in the secret empire. Follow me. The hooded agent walks swiftly to a mammoth boulder and he fires a ray at a boulder, and then it opens up. Behold, my carefully concealed scout craft. Enter. They do, and in no more than 15 seconds later, that the lonely Texas hills resound to the roar of sleek, powerful jets. How much time after that is incalculable inside that throbbing, sealed ship, but the moon is still high when they set down on a desert. Now, as I tip this cactus, and sure enough, yeah, there's a cactus there, and it's a fake cactus, Bob. He's just taking it and moving it so that it moves at an angle, and then what happens?
Oh my God, a hidden doorway opens.
And we're in the last page. I reveal the hidden entrance to the ultimate lair of the secret empire. Through here pass the future leaders of the world, and I invite you to become 2 of them. A camouflaged hole in the desert floor. Rockets hidden inside fake boulders. Can we fool a crew capable of all this for long? The tunnel mouth closes over our heroes like the whale devouring Jonah. The sands are silent once more. But wait, a second jet craft swoops from our landing, and three familiar figures debark. One of them is in a wheelchair. That secret tracking signal Cap was carrying worked fine, Professor. He led us to our goal, at last. Now all we need to do is wait. Yes, wait. Wait for those two mortal men to deceive an entire empire on the home territory, risking exposure and annihilation. Every second they spend in that mammoth tomb, they've willingly entered. Yes, we wait, perhaps forever, because Captain America and the Falcon may never come out of there alive. Dun dun dun. Next issue, it's always darkest before.
Lunch.
Is it?
I get hangry. So yes, it is for me. For others, it's dawn.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, Bob, what'd you think of this what'd you think of this
All
story,
right,
this issue?
it's pretty good. I mean, it moved pretty quick, right? A lot of action. A little bit hokey in some parts, a little un Steve Rogers like in some parts, but overall, it's moving along pretty well.
Mhm.
And it's been quite, every issue has been quite different. Different characters for the most part, not just sort of rehashing the same fights, but and yet building toward some sort of conclusion. So I think a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, there's some curiosity there. What's going on with Nick Fury? Like, why was he in that same area? Oh, we
Mm-hmm.
don't know now, but there's it's a little foreshadowing, and perhaps maybe of something we'll learn later. Um, and yeah, I mean, what's a comic book story without a hero battling a hero?
Good point. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe we should do that sometime. Top 10 hero versus hero battles involving Cap.
yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah, you think?
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too about this particular Nick Fury costume, I know a lot of people like the blue with the white.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually kind of fond of this blue with like that orangey yellow. I've always liked that one, maybe because that was one of my earliest ones that I remember from the 70s when I was, reading Marvel comics and he would pop in as a character. That uniform, I would love because I got that Fred Hembeck card with the blue and white. I want the blue and orange.
So that's probably going to be one of those special orders, right? Because
No, 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 no. It's gonna be
does
one of
he
those. It's
does
gonna
he
be one
do
of
them?
those. Oh well, he does all kinds of different characters. Like I got a Black Widow one
Yeah,
recently.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
still coming in the mail, but it was the gray costume with the collar,
Right.
from
Yeah.
the Streets of Poison time period.
Right. Yeah.
But he's done other versions of Black Widow. So
Yeah, but that one, I mean, that uniform lasted for a while in the comics, right? And it was substantially different in many ways. Whereas, I mean, the orange and the white.
well, I think if Fred Hembeck was pretty smart, he'd be like, "Oh, let me do a variation of
Well,
this,"
you're right.
and
Yeah.
then the collectors be like, "I don't have that version."
Well, you're exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd have to dive deep a little bit on some of those, but you're right. Yeah. It's a
yeah.
moneymaker.
All right, Bob, you go first. What is your favorite panel in this episode slash issue? And please don't take mine.
Well, I'm gonna go with the top panel on page 2. And it's the
Okay,
one where we see, Nick and Dum Dum and the rest of the Shield agents, and they've got the Tennessee State Police behind them. And
probably half of them.
yeah, probably half of them, right? Yeah. Um, and, I love Nick Fury. He's my second favorite character, and I love seeing him in a Cap book. So, and it's double bonus if you got Dum Dum there. So, and it's got great dialogue. It's got typical Nick Fury dialogue. So,
And he
uh,
says fancy
and
pants.
he says fancy pants, which that's awesome. So I'm gonna go with this panel because I like it.
I did not see that coming.
Sure, I like to throw a curveball every now and again. How about yourself? What are you thinking?
Oh, I am so taking page 6, panel 5. It's the one where Cap is pushing Professor X really fast with the tie going. Like I wanted to play that panel down a little bit, but
Yeah.
because you I was ready to go to the next page, and you were just like, "Oh, Rick, this is great. Look how fast Professor X is going, because his tail, I mean his tie is
Yeah.
going at a 45 degree. It's like parallel with the ground. His
Right.
tie is
Yeah.
going right.
Yeah.
That, and then you see a little bit of the motion on the
The
wheel,
motion, the
right?
wheels. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Cap's leaning into this,
He really is. He's
right?
sprinting. He's at
He
full
is
sprint.
totally sprinting. He
Yeah.
totally is.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite
And
panel.
X is like a damn fool because he's not even looking where they're going. Right.
Oh, but he's pointing.
He's pointing and he's got his head turned.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a dangerous
Well, listen,
situation all around.
if Cap is pushing you that fast, you probably don't want to look. You just
Probably don't. But I'm thinking to myself, why didn't Marvel Girl just levitate him over there? So.
Well, because they had to stay low
Oh,
because
right.
of
Yeah.
the
Oh, good
cover of
point.
the fire,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Right.
And by the way, I know I said I wanted to talk about this. My understanding now, when I was a kid, I used to think that Cyclops ray blast was like a laser. Like I thought it was like a laser ray.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it was because of Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, all these other things going on at the time, or because of comics like this. Because
Yeah.
he's catching things on fire, he's
Yeah.
melting things on the cover, he's
Well,
um,
lasers can do that, right?
yeah, but it's been shown that his eye blast is a concussive force.
That's true. Yeah.
It's not a laser. It's like
Yeah.
punching.
Yeah.
It's like a concussive type of
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
It's not, burning.
Right.
And so I don't know which came first. I'm
Huh.
not a big X-Men fan. I did collect X-Men for maybe 10 years, and then I got bored because of the soap opera thing, and it just seemed like,
Right. Right.
but I do know enough that it's supposed to be a concussive force.
Huh.
So maybe our X-Men fans out there that are listening, maybe you can
Yeah.
explain, can Cyclops eye blast do all these different things that it did in this issue?
Interesting. I don't know enough about the X-Men to even come close to answering that. I just watched the movies. So.
All right,
Huh.
for my T-shirt, Bob.
Yeah.
For my T-shirt, I am going to page 2, the same page you were just on,
Ooh.
but I'm going to the last panel.
All right.
Where Cap's throwing his shield and says, "Go!" And then
Nice.
Cyclops is shooting his eye beams. I want that on a T-shirt, because how often do you see Cyclops and Cap together, especially in an action panel like this?
Right.
So,
All right.
I thought that was pretty cool to put on a T-shirt.
That is a good one. That's a good one. It's not as cool as mine, but it's a good one.
Well, what is yours?
Well, it's and again, I'm looking at the digital version, so it's around page 16. It's when they're in the brand factory and they've been caught by the security, and with advanced weaponry, might I add. And it's the top right panel of around page 16 where Cap chucks his shield and he says, "But my shield hasn't been beaten yet." It's the top right panel. It's got an orange background. He's chucking the shield. Falcon's right there off his right side. And so
he's holding a lunchbox.
He's holding his lunchbox, Yeah. So I think that'd be cool on a shirt.
Yeah, sure. Just as good as mine. I mean, it's pretty darn similar if you think about it.
It is.
Right? The size of it. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities here, right? The size of the panel, the size of Captain America,
the orange background,
the orange background, the angle of the shield. What we are seeing from the shield, is almost exactly the same. And then the swirling motion of the shield, dude. We almost picked the same. And look at how Falcon is standing there with his two arms out. and look how Cyclops is there with his two arms out.
Right.
Dude, we almost picked the same panel.
We did. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, what's going in your time capsule?
Oh, Rick. I gotta go. We talked about this earlier. I thought we were going to drill down a little bit more, and I gotta go with that panel that I picked as my favorite panel because it has the little explainer box from Roy Thomas with the words.
You can't pick the same thing twice.
Well, I can. No, it's not the panel. It's the acronym SHIELD. In the fact that, at this point in SHIELD's history, we're still going with the Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division. And we know that eventually changes in the 90s to become the Strategic Hazard Intervention Espionage Logistics Directorate. And that's what it, I think it remains so in the comics to this day, although that's different than what we have in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they get into the whole Homeland intervention enforcement in a logistics division. So I like the original. I've always liked the original, like the original patch, like the original, SHIELD logo. And it's just, we're talking early 1970s here, and we're still in the heyday of SHIELD as, what it was originally intended to be in Strange Tales 135. But, in 16 brief years from now, that's going to become something else when they reform and Nick Fury joins them again in his volume 3. So anyway, that's my time capsule. Enjoy it while you have it.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. I do have a question for you. You said, here we are in the early 70s. It's 1974. You consider that early?
I do. Yeah.
Have we talked about this before?
I think we have. We've talked about what's mid, what's late, what's early. Yeah. It's early, late, early.
Yeah.
Mid,
early to me is 1, 2, 3. Mid is 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
So I would say mid, but you're going to go with like my mother-in-law's version of this.
I'm going to go because I'm 56. I'm going to be 57. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still in my mid 50s.
You are in your mid 50s right now.
Yeah. And I'm going to remain that way.
No.
Yes, I am, Rick. Yes.
Oh, you are going with my mother-in-law's version. Okay. All right.
How about yourself, Rick? What's going in your time capsule?
Well, Bob, I'm going to go with page 23, panel 4. And what that one is the one where Cap and Falcon are scooting by the two guards who are not paying attention.
Yeah.
And one of them is reading a magazine. First of all, the fact that he's reading a magazine versus being on his phone.
Yeah.
Right. That right there is
definite.
A little dated.
Yeah.
The second thing is it's totally a girly magazine.
It is.
Right. Like it's a nudie magazine.
Yeah.
I'm making assumptions because of what you see on the back cover, what you see on the front cover.
Yeah.
And
it's not a Patsy Walker comic.
Yeah. So it seems like a 1980s movie trope, of like, the guards there, here they're with their penthouse or their Playboy or,
Yeah.
What are the other ones, Bob? You should know.
Jugs. I don't know. Rick, this was going to be my time capsule, by the way.
Was it really?
It was. I thought about it.
I'm so glad you didn't steal it. Thank you.
It was my backup. And that's because, for two things. One is I saw this and I'm like, oh, he's reading Playboy. And then I thought, Playboy is no longer published, right? It went out of business. Stuff. I think the last issue was like in 2020 or something like that. And that's when my subscription ran out. And so they don't have it anymore. And so it's definitely a bygone age. But I remember as a lieutenant in the Marine Corps, working at Yuma, Arizona, Marine Corps Air Station, Yuma, Arizona. And I didn't work on the main base. I worked out at P-111, the Frank Cannon Air Defense Complex, which sounds really fancy, but it's a little place out in the desert where we had the air defense unit. And we had our own barber out there. What the hell was his name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, great guy, old grizzled guy. And he'd smoke a cigar while he was cutting your hair, which again, not something you can do anymore. But if you went into his little office and he was the guy that ran all the barbers on the base, the main base, but he chose to work out there and let his other guys work on base. He had a drawer in the barbershop full of Playboy magazines, Playboy penthouse magazines. And you go, and he had a mini fridge with beer in it. And you could go in at 10 in the morning.
Sounds like a great place to get your hair cut.
At 10 in the morning, have a beer, read a girly magazine while he smoked a cigar and cut your hair. And that was, that's a bygone age. That doesn't happen anymore, by the way.
No, it sure doesn't.
Yeah. That's in
It
a
sure
time
does.
capsule.
You could have just said getting your hair cut is a bygone age for me, Bob.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I haven't gotten a haircut from somebody in a long time.
Right. Well, there's always manscaping.
What the hell are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just saying, don't get fixated
where do you go,
hair.
Bob, for your manscaping? Do you have a place that I hope they don't have Playboys?
Yeah. I have a lady. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Lord. All right, Bob. Come back next episode where we will have another Captain America comic book for you. How's that?
That sounds like a fair offer.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go do that. And then the following episode, it's going to be a lot of fun because we're having another guest back on the show, a comic book writer who has done his share of so many comics, but a couple of beloved Captain America and related characters, long-running series. So come back in 2 episodes for that. Next episode, we're going to be back. We'll find another Cap comic to cover panel by panel. Bob, as always, been a lot of fun wrapping Cap with you.
It has. I can't wait till next week.
And everybody, this is the part of the show where I ask, please rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, give a comment. If you're on Spotify, give us a high review as well. On Apple, 5-star review, always appreciated. And as always, we thank you for listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. But you know what I almost did for the #1 song this week in February of 1974? You know what it was?
What was it?
The Way We Were.
Oh my gosh.
I almost did that for you.
Oh my gosh, that would have been. I would have loved to have heard your Streisand voice.
No, thank you. No, thank
you. And then you could get into a little what was the was it what was that? She was in so many movies. I'm trying to think of was she that wasn't in Fiddler on the Roof? Yentl, that's it. That's the one I was going for. Yentl. Yeah. There you go.
Cap has just met the enigmatic. Is it enigmatic? Wait.
You had it right first time. Enigmatic.
Enigmatic. Enigmatic. But I'm making it harder than it needs to be.
You are. Yeah, you're thinking too much about it.
I got the matic right.
Enigmatic. See, I'm doing it now too. Enigmatic.
Yeah.
Enigmatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's spelled enigmatic, but it's enigmatic. Cap has just met the enigmatic X-Men, who said what?
It's just so funny how you get hung up on a word and then you overthink it. Right?
Did I say it wrong?
No, I think it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Like you're never going to get it now.
I know.
You've thought too much about it.
I hear about those X-Men. They're monsters.
Right.
Really
yeah.
are. Especially that Wolverine, because
Yeah.
he's laced with that animanium.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody got their bingo cards out?
Cap has just met the enigmatic. All right. Cap has just met the enigmatic X-Men, who
The
say they may be
mysterious
what?
X-Men.
Just dear
You
God.
just met the mysterious X-Men.
That's what my copy says. I don't know what you're reading.